Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be teaching you how to make yet another crochet summer top, and this time it's going to be this very simple top from granny squares and triangles. It looks much better when it's actually on and you are wearing it, but hopefully this helps you to see how this top will look as well. And otherwise, as you can see, I have made it in watermelon colors to also show some support through crochet work. As always, I have made sure that this tutorial is as beginner friendly as possible, so I'm really going into detail with every single stitch and every single step to make sure that everyone is actually able to replicate this project. But if you have any questions or need any help, then just feel free to ask in the comment section below and I will try to help you from there. But now, without further ado, let's jump into it. Here are the materials that I will be using in this project. Here I have 4 different colors of 4-ply cotton yarn, and I'm using black, green, red and white. And here are some more specs about this yarn that I'm using, just in case if you are interested. And of course you will also need a crochet hook. For this project I'm using 3mm hook, and you will also need scissors. And here are the final granny square and triangle that we will be starting with first, and I will start with teaching you how to create them. So now let's jump into it. I will be starting with the black color, and we will first start by creating the granny squares. So our first step is to do a magic ring, and for that you are grabbing yarn and tying it around your fingers like this to create an X shape here. Then you just grab your crochet hook and go underneath the first piece of yarn that you have, grab the second one and pull it through to have a loop on your hook like this. So now basically magic ring is ready. We just have to prepare our chains, and in my case, since we will be doing double crochets, we are doing 3 chains. So 1, 2 and 3. So now the magic ring is ready, as well as we have prepared 3 chains, which in this case counts as double crochet. So now we can proceed further with working on the first round, and we will be doing all our stitches inside this magic ring. And it's important to note that all the stitches that we are creating, all of them have to cover both pieces of yarn that we have here. So always make sure that you have this loose piece of yarn available to pull and adjust. But now let's get into doing the double crochets. So for double crochet you have to yarn over, then go through the magic ring, grab yarn and pull up to have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and go through 2, yarn over again and go through 2. So now we technically have 2 double crochets here, and for the first step we actually need to do 3 in a row. So I'm just adding another double crochet, so we have 3 here together like this. Once that's done, our next step is to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3 like that, and then we are doing another 3 double crochets inside the same space. So again, yarning over, going through the magic ring, grabbing yarn to have 3 loops on our hook, then yarning over and going through 2, yarning over and going through 2. So that's 1. So now again 2 more left to do inside this same space. So this is 2, and then also adding the third one like this. And after that again we are chaining 3. So 1, 2 and 3. So now we have created half of this first round, and I'm running out a bit of space, so I just adjusted it by pulling this piece. So we have always 2 pieces of yarn here, and now we just have to do another 3 double crochets, chain of 3, 3 double crochets and chain of 3. So I'm just going to proceed with doing that. So here are 3 double crochets, and we are chaining 3 again and adding another 3 double crochets. So here they are. So 1, 2 and 3 chains right after that. So now we are basically done with this first round, and we can close the magic ring just by pulling this loose piece of yarn that we have here. So just pull it, and as you are pulling it you can see that the circle in the middle is closing, and you are establishing a nice and smooth shape in terms of circle here, as well as we have created a tiny little square here with the first round and the stitches that we did. And now all that is left for us to do is basically to connect this round, and to do that we will be using slip stitch, and we will go through the third chain here that we did in the very beginning. So I'm just going through that one, grabbing yarn and pulling it up, and then pulling this same loop through the loop that we had on our hook initially, like this. So now this first round is finalized. Now, without cutting off any yarn, we can proceed with the next round, and we just first have to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and again this chain of 3 is going to count as 1 double crochet, and it will live here inside this space. So now we are actually jumping to this corner, and in here we will do 3 double crochets, chain of 3 and 3 double crochets, all of them together in this same space. So I'm just starting to work on that, and first doing 3 double crochets, one after each other. So here I'm just completing the third one like this. So that is half of this corner for the second round, and after that chaining 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and now again adding 3 double crochets inside the same space. So this is the first one, then doing second one, and then also the third one, like this. So now we have created the first corner for the second round, and we just have to do the same exact thing also in the following corner that we have here. So just proceed with doing that and adding 3 double crochets, chain of 3 and 3 double crochets together in the same space, like this. So now also the second corner is created in here, and after that you can proceed with doing the same thing in here, and then I will meet you back again once we have reached the final corner that we have in here, and we will do that together. So here I have completed also the third corner, and now it's left to do the final one, where we actually have this chain of 3 that we started with. So since this counts as 1 double crochet, in this space we will actually have to do 3 double crochets, chain of 3, 2 double crochets, and then we have this one which counts as the third one, and then we are connecting this round with the slip stitch. So let's just do this together. So first I'm starting with doing 3 double crochets in the same space, one after each other, like this. Here I have 3 of them, and then I'm chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then just doing 2 double crochets, since we have that chain of 3 already, which counts as 1 double crochet. So 1 added, and also the second one. So now we are done with this second round as well. We just have to connect it together, and we have 3 double crochets in here. So now I'm just connecting this round by doing a slip stitch here inside the third chain from the very beginning when we started, and doing a slip stitch in there like that. So now this second round is connected and finalized, and we can actually fasten off since we are done with this color. So for that I'm just chaining 1, making this loop a little bit longer, then grabbing my scissors and cutting off yarn, and as it's cut off I'm just tightening to make sure that it's secure, like this. So now round 2 is finalized, and we can proceed with the third one, where I will actually be changing the color. So for the third round and for the couple of the following rounds I will be using red color. So first we just have to proceed with actually attaching it to the previous round that we just finalized, and I will be doing that here inside a random space in between the 3 double crochets that we have. So I'm just going to go through the space, then grabbing yarn and pulling it through, and then just tightening in a secure knot to make sure that it stays there. And now we can proceed with using this color as well as doing the third round. So for that we first have to pull up a loop like this, so we can actually get started, and our first step is to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and again this chain of 3 counts as a double crochet. So now we just have to add 2 more double crochets inside this same space. So this was the second one, and now the third one, like this. So on the sides we would always be adding 3 double crochets in the same space, but now we have reached the corner again. So in the corner it's the same process. We are adding 3 double crochets, chain of 3 and 3 double crochets. So I'm just proceeding with doing that in here. And as I'm doing these stitches, I'm also making sure that I'm hiding this loose piece of yarn underneath the stitches, so I don't have to worry about weaving in loose ends at the very end when I'm done with my project. So I'm actually saving quite a lot of time like this. So now I have also completed this corner. So after that, I'm proceeding with the next side that I have here. And in there, again, we are just adding 3 double crochets together in the same space. So I'm just starting with the first one, and then also adding the second one and the third one, like this. So this is how it's supposed to look so far. So basically from now on the process is very similar. You just have to do in the corners, it's always 3 double crochets, chain of 3 and 3 double crochets, and on the sides it will always be just 3 double crochets in the same space. So just go all the way around until you reach the very beginning where we started, and then we can connect this round. Here I'm done with the third round, so this is how it looks so far. And now we are just connecting it by doing a slip stitch in the third chain from the very beginning, and now it's connected. So this round basically represents all the stitches and process that you would have to repeat throughout the following rounds. So basically all you have to do now is add extra rounds as you wish, with however many rounds you want for each color. I will now be using red color for 2 additional rounds, and then I will be changing to white, and finally with green one. So basically all you have to do is now just repeat adding extra rounds until you have built up the size for the square that you are going for. So for now I'm just starting with the 4th round. So again, for that I'm doing 3 chains, so 1, 2 and 3, and again this counts as 1 double crochet. And after that I'm jumping into the next space where I'm adding 3 double crochets, because for this chain of 3 that we just did, we will get back to that at the very end, and in that space where we have it, we will only have to add 2 double crochets and then just connect it by doing a slip stitch in here, and in total we will have 3 double crochet stitches in this space. But now just proceed with adding extra rounds until you have completed using this red color. Here I have completed the 4th round, so now again chaining 3 to be able to start with the next one. And since now I have this chain of 3 in the very beginning of this space, I'm just proceeding with adding 2 double crochets right away in this space that I have here. So here is one, and then also adding the second one like this. So this is how it looks in this case. And now again just proceeding with doing the same stitches for the following spaces that we have on the sides as well as in the corners. Here I'm done with this round as well, and also done with this color. So first we just have to connect this round by doing a slip stitch inside the 3rd chain from the very beginning where we started, like this. So now it's connected. And now since I'm done with this color, I'm also going to fasten off. So just chaining 1, making this loop a little longer, grabbing scissors, cutting off, and just tightening in a secure knot. So now I can proceed further with adding extra rounds with a different color, and in this case I will be using white color, and I will add 2 rounds of this one. So again the process is very similar as we did before. We just first have to attach this yarn to a random gap that we have from the previous round, and just making a secure knot to make sure that it doesn't unravel. And then you can just proceed with doing the same that you did during the previous rounds. And with this white color for my size, I will just be adding 2 rounds of it. So here I have added 2 rounds of white, and now the next step would be to do the same with green color. So also with this one I will be adding 2 extra rounds for my granny square. Here I have also added 2 rounds of green, which now complete exactly it's the final granny square that I was going for. And if I measure it, it is around 15 centimeters or 14.5. So this size is the size that I was going for myself to create a size small. However, if you wanted to go a size up or down, you would basically have to add or remove an extra round of for this granny square that we created. So feel free to do that and kind of measure to make sure that you are creating the correct size for yourself, as well as you can just measure it by putting it on your bust or above your chest to make sure that it kind of fits you. And in total for this project you would have to create 3 of these granny squares, and just make sure that you are creating them in the exact same pattern in terms of colors as well as in the exact same size. So just proceed with doing that. And now that you have done all the squares that is needed for this top, we can move further with creating the triangles. This is how the final triangle looks like. As you can see, in terms of pattern, it's very similar to the squares. The only difference is that we would have some different stitches and steps here at the bottom. However, it's going to be very similar, but now let's jump into it so I can actually teach you how to create this. So again, we are starting with the black color, and our first step will be to do a magic ring. So following the same process as before, we are creating like a X shape here, grabbing yarn by going through the first loop and then having a loop on our hook, and then again chaining 3. So 1, 2 and 3. So here is the magic ring as well as chain of 3, and in this case this chain of 3 is going to be just the bottom part or bottom border for our triangle. So after this, for the first round, we just have to do 3 double crochets in this case. So I'm just starting to work on the first one. Here is the second one and also the third one. So now I have technically completed 1/2 of the first round for this triangle, and after that I'm chaining 3. So 1, 2 and 3. And then once that's done, we just have to do 4 double crochets in this case. So 3 will be for the actual triangle, and the 4th one will be for the bottom of the triangle, for the kind of like the border part. So here I have 2, 3 and also the 4th one, like this. So now this first round for this triangle shape is finalized, and we can close this magic ring since we are done. So for that, again, we are just pulling this loose piece of yarn that we have here, and as I'm pulling, it's closing and establishing a triangle shape here. And right after that, we have ended up here. So our first step is to chain 3, so we can get started with the second round. So 1, 2 and 3. And once that's done, we just have to turn or work, and then we are doing 3 double crochets here in between the last double crochet from the previous round and the 3 that we have here. So in there, we are doing 3 double crochets in the same space. So I'm working already on the second one and then also adding the third one like this. And now once that's done, we are jumping here on the top of this triangle, and in there we are doing 3 double crochets followed by 3 chains, and then again 3 double crochets. So here I'm already completing the 3rd double crochet. After that, chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, that helps us to turn, and then again doing 3 double crochets inside the very same space. So second one, and now also doing the 3rd one like this. So now also the top of this triangle is finalized, and then we are jumping in between here where we have 3 double crochets and chain of 3. So in this space here, again, just as on the other side where we were in the very beginning, we are first adding 3 double crochets, and all of them are supposed to go inside the very same space. So one is already done, and now I'm just working on the second one like this, and then also adding the 3rd one like that. So now this is done, and we just have to finalize this round. So here in the very end we just have to add another double crochet on top of the chain of 3 that we had from in here on the bottom part. So in there I'm also doing 1 double crochet like this. So now, as you can see, second round is finalized, and we can proceed further with the third one. So for the third round we will actually be switching color to this red color, and to do that we have to go 1 step back. So I'm just removing this last yarn over from the previous from the stitch that we just did. So we have 2 loops on our hook. Then I'm grabbing this red color and just tying it around the yarn that we already have to create a secure knot in here. And then I'm just pushing this knot closer to the hook that we have, so we are closer to the stitch that has to be completed. And now we can complete this stitch again, and in this case, to complete it, I'm just using this red color like this. So now we are officially done with this black color, so I can just cut off the yarn that I have here, since we won't use it anymore, at least for this triangle. And now we are just proceeding further with using the red color. So now actually the process is going to be very similar, but let's just start this third round together. So first we are chaining 3, so 1, 2 and 3, then again turning our work, and inside this space that we have here in between, we are again doing 3 double crochets together in the same space. So I'm just also making sure that I will be hiding all the loose ends that I have here, and just doing 3 double crochet stitches together in this same space. So here I have 2 already, and then just adding the third one as well like this. This is how it looks. Then we are jumping into this gap that we have here in between the 3 double crochets from the previous round, and in there we are also adding 3 double crochets together in the same space. So it looks like this, and then we have reached this top of the triangle here, and again in there we are doing the same exact thing. We are adding 3 double crochets. Once that's done, we are just chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then again we are adding 3 more double crochets inside the very same space, and in this way we are creating the tip of this triangle that we have. So this is basically the whole process for adding extra rounds to create and maintain this triangle shape. So always on the sides you have to add 3 double crochets. In the tip you have to do 3 double crochets, chain of 3 and 3 double crochets, and when you reach the bottom of this part, that's where you have to squeeze in 3 double crochets in between the bottom part as well as the stitches that you have, like the 3 double crochets. And then on top of the very last stitch, that's where you have to add another double crochet, and you just have to make sure that it is done equally on all of the bottom parts that you are creating like this. So now basically this is the whole process for creating the triangle. Just make sure that you do it in the same way as you did it for the square, and add colors in the exact same way as you did before. So I would have to do another 2 rounds of this red color, then 2 of white, and also 2 of green. So just proceed with adding extra rounds, changing colors, and making sure that you are building up triangle that would be in the exact same size as the square, just kind of cut in half in the diagonal. So keep on doing this, and I will meet you back once we are done with this triangle. Here I'm done with this triangle, and this is how it looks. And for this project in total you would have to create 3 of these triangles. So make sure that all of them are in the exact same size and in the same color pattern as well. And once you have created them, we can proceed further with the layout for the top, as well as connecting squares and triangles together. But before we do that, we can also just double check that the size of these shapes are in the correct size. So just put one of the squares and one of the triangles together and kind of measure if they are covering your bust from the neck down. And if they are, then it's totally fine. If not, then just try to add extra rounds to both of the shapes to make sure that you're making them bigger so they are covering your bust and chest area. After that, we can proceed with the layout for this top, and I would advise to lay out all of these granny squares and triangles on the floor or somewhere where you have more space, just so it's easier to see what goes where and how to proceed further. So first I laid out all the squares and they are on the sides of the main square, and then all of the triangles are coming in on the bottom. So this is how it would look once the top is finalized, and now we can proceed with connecting these shapes together. So to do that, I would be using slip stitch, and first I would be connecting all of the squares together from starting from the main square that is at the very top, and I would be doing that in one go, and then I would proceed further with connecting all of these triangles at the bottom, and I would also do that in one go so it's easier and we are not cutting off yarn that many times. So now we can proceed with connecting these granny squares together, and for that I will be using green color since that was the color I used during the last round, just to make sure that we have smooth transition and we are using the same color basically. But yeah, here is the layout for the granny squares, how they will be connected. And first we just have to turn them on the other side facing upwards, so we are making sure that all the ugly bits will be hidden in the inner part and therefore not visible. But basically this is the way how we will connect them together. So first I will be starting with these two squares and I will connect them together and then also attach this one. So I'm just taking these two, and as you can see, right side is still facing inwards for both of them, and I'm just making sure that they are facing exactly the same stitch from each of the squares, and then I can proceed with actually attaching yarn so we can continue with connecting these two squares together. So to do that, I will attach yarn here in the middle of the corner. So I'm just going to go through this middle chain that we have here in this square as well as in the corner of the other square. So I'm just going through this, then grabbing yarn and looping it through, and then just attaching it by making a secure knot like this. And after this, we can now proceed with doing slip stitches and connecting both of these squares together. So first, I'm just going to go through the same stitch where we attached yarn, and then pulling it up to have a loop on our hook so we can actually get started. And first, I'm just chaining one so it helps me move further. And then I'm just jumping into the next chain that I have here, since we have one more left from this corner bit, and then grabbing yarn and doing a slip stitch like this. And after that, we are just proceeding further with the following stitches that we have, and in this case I'm going through both loops of the stitches that are there. So doing the same thing as we did before, just by going through the stitches and also making sure that we are going through both loops from both stitches on each side. Otherwise, you're just moving further by doing one slip stitch at a time, and just make sure that you are connecting the corresponding stitch from both squares to make sure that it doesn't look wonky, as well as everything is kind of connected equally on both sides. So this is how far I have got so far, and if I turn it on the right side, you can see that we are starting to establish a nice and smooth connection between both of these squares. So just continue doing this until you reach the end, and this is where we will loop in also the other square here on that side without cutting off yarn, and just proceeding with doing the same. So I will meet you then. This is how it looks when these two squares are connected together. and this is how it looks from the right side, which will actually be facing outwards. So now I have reached the very middle of this corner bit here, and now we can add also this square and continue with attaching that one. So first I'm just going through the middle chain that I have here, and then grabbing this square and also going through the middle chain from the corner that I have here, like this. And then also the previous square that we have here, also going through the chain that we have in here. And now doing a slip stitch by going through all loops like this. So now after this we can proceed further with the square that we are connecting now on this side, and just doing the same thing by doing slip stitches all the way through. So this is how it looks so far when I have started to also connect this square together. So now I'm just proceeding further with connecting this whole side until I reach the very end, where I will meet you back again so we can fasten off together. So now I have basically connected these two squares together. It's just left for me to do one last slip stitch, which is going through the middle chain from both squares here, like this. So now it's connected all the way through and we can fasten off. So for that I'm first just chaining one, making the loop longer, then grabbing scissors and cutting off yarn, and as it's cut off we can just tighten in a secure knot like this. So now we have connected together all these three granny squares and we can proceed further with adding in triangles. So all the triangles will have to come in here in the free spaces that we have here below all the squares, and this is how we will attach them in here. And the process for that will be the same. We will basically just start from this point and then we will be doing slip stitches like this all the way through until all three triangles are attached to the granny squares. So now all of our granny squares and triangles are attached together in the shape that we want for this top. So now we can proceed with adding border all the way around. So to add a border we will first have to turn our top on the right side. So I'm just doing that, and then we can proceed with adding it. So first I will actually be starting from the bottom part that I have here. So I'm just flipping my work also like this, and then I will proceed with doing the border from this corner in here. So for that our first step is again to attach yarn. So I'm just grabbing my yarn and crochet hook, and I will be looping it through one of these points that I have here. So just going through this one, grabbing yarn and pulling it through, and then attaching in a secure knot like this. And basically for all these rows that we have here at the bottom, we will have to add approximately 1 to 2 single crochets for each row that we have here. So let's do that. So first, to get started, we just have to grab yarn and pull up a loop like this, and then we are chaining one. So this chain of one is going to count as 1 single crochet, and then inside this same space that we have here, we are adding another single crochet. So for that, just go through this space, grab yarn and pull up a loop to have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over and go through both of them like this. So that's 1 single crochet. Right after that, we are proceeding with the next space that we have here and also doing a single crochet in here like this. And then after that, I'm moving right away to the next space, and in there I will be adding 2 single crochets, so 1 and 2. So it looks like this, and then again moving to the next space where we are adding another single crochet, and then in the following space we are adding 2. So basically I'm altering between 1 and 2 single crochets. So our bottom border looks like this. And now I have actually reached the green bit that we have for this row here, and also adding some single crochets in there. And in this last bit I will basically be adding 3 single crochets, so 1, 2 and 3 like this. And once we have reached this point here, this is also where we will add the strap that will be tied in the back from one side to the other. So to get started with working on that, we first have to chain 150. So let's do that. So here I have done all 150 chains for the strap on this side. So now I basically just have to work my way back to complete it, so we reach the point where we started and can proceed further with doing the border. So for the strap, basically I will be just working slip stitches all the way back. And first I'm just skipping the first one, and in the second one or the following one I'm starting to do my slip stitches. So you are already familiar with slip stitches. Basically just go through every single chain that you have here and do one slip stitch in each until you reach the very beginning where we started. So the process for this strap is very simple, very basic, and nothing really new in this pattern. So now this whole strap here is completed, and we can attach it to the main part of this top, as well as proceed with doing the border further. So to do that, we are just basically doing single crochet in the very first stitch that we have here on the side, and with that we have also attached this strap properly, and now we can proceed with doing the remaining bit of this border in here up until we reach the top point that we have here. So just keep on adding single crochets, and I will meet you back again once we are at the very top there. And once you reach these bits with chains here, also do one single crochet inside every chain space that you have here. So in total, in this connection bit, I basically have to add 4 single crochets, just because we have these chains in the corners that weren't filled properly. So this is how it looks so far. So just do that once you are there, and after that just proceeding again with doing 1 single crochet on top of every stitch. So now I have reached this very tip of this top. So in here we are adding 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and also the third one, like this. So now we are also done with this very tip, and then we are slightly turning our work and proceeding with adding single crochets on top of every single stitch on this side until we reach the very end here. And in here, this is where we will add another strap. Here I have added border also on this side, and now I have reached this point, so here we are adding the strap. So again, I'm just proceeding further with chaining 150 chains. And here I have done all 150 chains, so now we can work our way back to create the strap. So again, the same thing, we are just skipping the first chain, and then starting from the following one, we are doing slip stitches all the way back until we reach the beginning where we started. So now also this strap is finalized, so I can again proceed with adding the border here at the very bottom. And first we just have to attach this strap to this bottom part, and we will be doing that by doing 3 single crochets here in this first bit that we have here. So I'm just starting with the 1 and then adding 2 more on top of the side of this row that I have here. So that was the second one, and then also the third one. And after that, I'm just moving further with adding 1 to 2 single crochets on top of every single row or side of the row that I have. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just altering between 1 and then adding 2 on the next one. Here I have completed the whole border here at the bottom, and now I have also reached the very beginning where we started. So now we can connect this border, and I will do that here inside the first single crochet that we did, and I'm just doing a slip stitch in there like this. So now this border is connected and we can fasten off. So I'm just chaining 1, making the loop longer again and cutting off yarn, and then just tightening like this. So now we are basically done with this top. It's just left for us to add 1 more strap here at the very tip, which will be tied around our neck. So let's do that. So the process again is going to be very similar as it was for the other straps. We are using the same color and we will do a lot of chains. So first we just have to do a slip knot. So I'm taking my yarn like this, then twisting it and pulling a loop
through the hole that I just created, like that, and then putting this loop on the hook and adjusting the size to make sure it fits. And now for this strap we just have to chain 200, so I'm just proceeding with doing 200 chains in total. Here are all my 200 chains, so now we just have to work our way back. And again, it's going to be the same as it was for the other straps. So we will just do slip stitches all the way through. So skipping the first chain that I have here and starting from the second one, we are just doing slip stitches inside every single chain that we have here. So just proceed with doing that until you meet the very beginning where you started. So here this strap is also finalized. So now we can also cut off yarn for this one, just like that, and tightening just to make sure that it's all secure. And then we have these two pieces of loose yarn, so those we can just weave back inside this strap so they are not visible. And I'm just doing that with my crochet hook, so just do the same to make sure that we are hiding this and no one can see it. So now this strap is officially done, and we can also loop it through this tip here for our top so we can finalize it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just pulling it through this very tip here and ensuring that it is in equal length on both of the sides, like that. So just make sure to check that as well. And it's up to you if you want it to be just left hanging in here like this. Otherwise, you can also just make a secure knot here like this, just very simple like that, and you are done. So now this strap is ready to be tied around your neck, and it's also finalized. Besides that, you can loop this strap also a couple of rows further in if that helps you with the fit of this top better. And here with these straps, you can just tie it around your waist. The only last step that is left for us to do is just to weave in these loose ends in the back. So just do that in the same way as we did it for the strap, and then you are officially done with this project. And this is how it looks on me. I'm super happy with how this project turned out, and I'm very pleased with how it fits me. This is definitely a perfect top for summer as well as beach, so just make sure to make yourself one as well.
So that was it from me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that this tutorial is going to be useful for you in case you are looking to create something similar or just want to learn how to create basic granny squares as well as triangles. Feel free to also mix and match different colors to create this top in whatever way you wish, and most importantly, just have fun and feel free to explore. I would be super happy to see your creations, so feel free to share them with me either here or on Instagram. I would really want to see how you are doing with your projects and what you are creating. Otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please give me a big thumbs up, and if you're new here, then please subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye!